Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Um, so we're gonna go ahead and just get started here. Um, who remembers what we've been talking about the last couple of days? Can you think of everything? Remember from day one, we had talked about the stigma. We've covered different specific mental illnesses. So today we are going to be covering seeking help and finding support for mental illness. So it's okay if you're not doing well mentally or emotionally. If you need to talk to somebody, then do that. It's very important for you to do that. If, say, you're not needing to talk to somebody immediately, you're just talking to them normally, but you're doing okay. And the idea of mental health, topic of mental health comes up, just kind of see how they're reacting when y'all are talking about it. If they have a stigmatized idea of mental health, if you ever need to talk to somebody, those people probably wouldn't be the best for you to go to. And it's just good to try to read people. So if they don't and they actually seem concerned, then that would probably be somebody that you could talk to. And it'd be better to talk to people that you feel comfortable with. I know if you go see a doctor, you may not be that comfortable with them right at first, but you may be able to become more comfortable as you see them. So, again, today we're going to be covering seeking help and finding support for mental illness. Let me get the PowerPoint pulled up. If I can find where it is. So, from start. There we go. Okay, so seeking help and finding support. Right there. Where to find support? Support for mental illness can come from anywhere from doctors, counselors, psychiatrists, family, friends. So family and friends provide the best support for someone with mental illness. They may not can really help, but they can support you. Many new programs actually use family and peers of the person for their mental and emotional support for the illness. So, what place would be right for you? So, I said we have psychiatrists, psychologists. So, a psychiatrist is a medical doctor with special training in the diagnosis and treatment of mental and emotional illnesses. Like other doctors, psychiatrists are qualified to prescribe medication. A psychologist is a professional with a doctoral degree in psychology, 2 years of supervised professional experience, including a year-long internship from an approved internship, and is trained to make diagnosis and provide individual and group therapy. A licensed professional counselor is a counselor with a master's degree in psychology counseling, or related field trained to diagnose and provide individual and group counseling. A mental health counselor is a counselor with a master's degree and several years of supervised clinical work experience trained to diagnose and provide individual and group counseling. You also have marital and family therapist, is a professional with a master's degree with special education and training in marital and family therapy, trained to diagnose and provide individual and group counseling. So if you're suffering from depression, a family therapist probably isn't going to be where you need to go. A psychiatrist, psychologist, those would be a lot better for you. So your types of therapy: cognitive behavioral therapy. If you remember from our discussion on specific, they mentioned cognitive behavioral therapy a couple times during those videos. So it has two main aspects. The cognitive part works to develop helpful beliefs about your life. The behavioral side helps you learn to take healthier actions. Interpersonal therapy. It focuses largely on improving relationships and helping a person express emotions in a healthy way. Family therapy helps family members communicate, handle conflicts, and solve problems better. So this could be a good thing if you are suffering from a mental illness. Maybe you could go to a family therapist just to learn possibly how better to communicate with that family if your mental illness is hindering the communication between you and your family. Y'all would be able to understand and communicate better, and maybe that would help solve some issues at home, which could then help maybe alleviate a little bit of the mental illness symptoms. Art therapy can include music, dance, drawing, and other art forms to help express emotions and promote healing. You know, if you've seen movies, you see some psychiatric hospitals, they allow them to draw, color, do things like that, because it allows them to get their emotions out and everything. Psychoeducation helps people understand mental health conditions and ways to promote recovery. So basic, just understanding, learning about everything, and giving decent ways for you to recover from your mental illness. So finding help for mental illness. Where do I find the different doctors that you might need? The first place you can start would be talking to your primary care physician and telling them what you're going through. From there, if they cannot help you, they can refer you to a more specialized doctor that would be able to help you if they are unable to help you. They would know several of the places around town or wherever that you would be able to go to in order for you get help. I'm worried about people knowing right now. So if you want to keep it a secret at first, a school counselor is someone you can talk to. They will be able to help you with certain things and talk to you through what you may need to find better help. Talk you through the steps in the process of finding help that you might need. A primary care doctor, you could talk to them as one-on-one and tell them you don't want any of this coming out. They shouldn't be allowed to talk about it. The internet. I know everybody knows how to use the internet nowadays. We can get on our phones, tablets, computer, anything. We have all the information for just about anything you want at our fingertips. So it could be a good place to find and get help. So if you just type in mental health help, it'll bring up several different options for you to get help from. Many places will tell you how to cope with what you are struggling with, and how to handle it yourself, almost like self-help. It'll have tips on maintaining your mental health. You may not have any issues right now, but it could give you good tips for while you're healthy, how to keep that health and not let your health deteriorate. Just like our physical bodies, our mental health can decline over time if we're not trying to take care of it. There are hotlines you can call if you need to get immediately help. If the situation is life-threatening, you can call 911. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline. This is relatively new. I do not have the full number, but there are some regions right now where you can just call 988 for the suicide prevention hotline. And by June, it was either June or July of this year, I saw that all regions, it'll be 988 for the suicide prevention hotline. And you also got your mental illness hotline right there at 1-800-950-6264. So supporting someone with mental health issues. So set time aside with no distractions. Our phones have do not disturb now. So you can put your turn TV off, set your phone to do not disturb, do whatever you need to so you won't have any distractions. And it's important to provide an open and non-judgmental space. So you don't want to go in there judging them. You don't want to be distracted, because if you're sitting there talking, you got your phone out right here and you're sitting here. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look good, and they're not going to feel like you're actually caring about them. Let them share as much or as little as they want to. If they don't feel like opening up very much, don't try to force them to. It's not good to try to force anybody to do anything. And if they just sit there and they just go, just sit there and listen. Let them make eye contact, good listening skills, active listening. Use those skills to let them know you are with them 100% and you are listening to them. They're not just talking, you're listening, you're taking in everything, but we don't want to interrupt them, and we just want to let them talk as much as they want. Don't try to diagnose or second guess their feelings. You probably aren't a medical expert. And while you may be happy to talk and offer support, you aren't a trained counselor. Try not to make assumptions about what is wrong or jump in too quickly with your own diagnosis and solutions. So, medical doctors go to school for years to get their training, learn their field. We are not there yet. That might be your goal in the future, but as right now, you're not there. We can offer help, do as much as we can, but we need to basically offer support, not necessarily help. Now, if you have help of, someone who might be good for them and wanting to offer them that situation, that would be okay. Keep your questions open-ended. Say, why don't you tell me about how you are feeling rather than, I can see you are feeling very low. Try to keep your language neutral. Give the person time to answer and try not to grill them with too many questions. Talk about self-care. Talk about ways of de-stressing or practicing self-care and ask if they find anything helpful. Exercising, having a healthy diet, getting a good night's sleep can help protect mental health and sustain well-being. A lot of people find that doing yoga or exercising will help relax them. They don't feel as stressed. It's a good way to calm them. So that could be a really good thing. Listen carefully to what they tell you. Repeat what they have said back to them to ensure that you have understood it. You don't have to agree with what they're saying, but by showing you understand how they feel, you are letting them know that you respect their feelings. I don't always agree with everything that I am told, but that doesn't mean I can't try to understand what it is I'm being told. Offer them help in seeking professional support and provide information on ways to do this. You might want to offer to go to the general practitioner with them or help them talk to a friend, family member. Try not to take control and allow them to make the decisions. Don't just say, hey, we're going to go to the doctor, or I'm taking you to the doctor, or we're talking to your parents about this, and then just start spilling everything for them. Let them basically do it themselves. You just need to be there as a support. Just be with them. You don't really have to say much, if anything at all. Just your presence there could be enough for them. Know your limits. You will have your own limits to the support that you can provide. If you can't go to the doctor and sit with them, that's okay. It's important to take care of yourself too. Give yourself time and rest and process what they have told you or what's happened, and try to help them create a support network of other friends, relatives, and mental health professionals who can help them too. You don't want to put everything onto yourself. If they have other friends that they can also go to, other family members, that's less that's going to be on your shoulders. And it's going to help you maintain your physical and mental well-being. And the better off you are, the more help and support you could give to them now or later on. Responding to someone in a crisis. Listen without making judgments and concentrating on their needs in that moment. Ask them what would help them. Reassure and signpost to practical information or resources. Avoid confrontation. Ask if there is someone that they would like you to contact. They're in a crisis, ask, is there anybody I can get for you? And if they say, yeah, my mom, my dad, brother, sister, uncle, whoever it is, then you could either get their phone and call them, or get their number from them and you call them on your phone. Encourage them to seek appropriate professional help. If they have hurt themselves, make sure they get the first aid that they need. So if they've done anything to harm themselves, if it's bad enough, you need to call 911, get an emergency vehicle there. If it's not that serious, it then just make sure they get the bandage or whatever it is that they might need, and then try to stay with them. If they've already committed some form of self-harm, it might not be good to leave them for a while and let them be on their own, because you don't know how they're still feeling, and they could do something else once you have left. And that is the end of the PowerPoint. So for the rest of this class period, I know we still have a little bit of time. Let me see. We still have half the class period. So what I want you to do for the rest of this time is I want you to get on your phone, get on your laptop, do something. Do something on one of your devices. And I want you to look up yourself on some of the mental health people around town, around the state. It doesn't matter, just somewhere in not too far of an area that you would be using if you needed. I want you to look up, give me the name of a couple of the doctors around. Maybe the psychiatrist, family therapist, psychologist. Just find a couple of the doctors' names that could be for mental illnesses. If you had depression, whatever. I want you to get them, and on your worksheet that you will be turning in, at the bottom, I want you to give me a couple of those doctors' names and any other information you might find interesting. Just get that, write it in so I can see that you actually did it. That way, you already know if you need the help, you'll be able to find it a little more quickly, because you're already going to have some of the knowledge of looking that information up and being able to find it. So that is all we have for today. Don't forget to go ahead and use the rest of this time that we have. You're not watching this video. Go ahead and use the rest of this time and look that information up now so you don't have to worry about it later. So until next time, bye.